Well, here with Assembly Member Gilbert Cedillo, who after many years you've had great success in the last week with the governor signing legislation for driver's license for IDs for undocumented Californians. Can you say a little bit about what this means and what are the next steps? What still needs to be done?
Well, it was a tremendous victory, and I'll tell you why. It's a tremendous victory because for the first time in 20 years, we will be giving licenses to people who come from the undocumented community. They will be documented at that moment. But nonetheless, we will create a space, a legal space, a legal right, legal obligation from the state to permit them to take the test. And it's huge because we have close to 2 million to 2.5 million undocumented motorists. And we know over the last 10, 15 years that without a license in California, your car is taken from you immediately for 30 days. And so it's been an incredible drain of wealth, hundreds of millions of dollars for the communities during that time period. Not to talk about also those who are then sometimes held and then sent over to the federal government for deportation. So that's huge. It's huge. It creates a new responsibility for those dreamers. It's not just rights, but it's responsibilities, and I think it can be transformative for them, both their role in their family, in the community, and in society. Big victory. Where do we go from here? California is the most liberal state in respect to providing rights for immigrant students and youth. And we're very fortunate. We have very thoughtful leadership, the law enforcement community, people who accept immigrants as part of our community, as a social fabric. And so we're very fortunate. But now it's time for, at least for us in California, that we seem to hit the wall of what we can do. It's time for the federal government to ultimately, that's what's needed. Comprehensive immigration reform is what's needed. The president's committed to it. He's committed to the DREAM Act. I just left Senator Dick Durbin right now. That's what we have to do. We have to make sure the president gets reelected, and then move all our resources towards pushing for comprehensive immigration.
Now, you've been pushing for this a long time, yes. and one of your key arguments is that this is really important for California.
Yes.
Not just for the individuals who are impacted, but for the state as a whole. Could you say a little bit about why that's so important?
Because I think messaging is key. I think telling the whole story is key, and I don't think we should fall into those paradigms or frames that were set up by anti-immigrants, questions of legality. This transcends that. We have to think about what are California's interests, the interests of the economy, the interests of society, the future interests. And when we think in those terms, we take the politics out of it, we look at the public policy, we see that it's critical for us to integrate immigrants into California society. It's critical for our economy. Somebody has to replace the baby boomers. They're leaving the workforce. We're not prepared for that at any level, public, private, nonprofit. We need a new generation of leadership and of leaders. These immigrants have a role to play and part of that. The nature of California's economy has changed dramatically. We were also big in manufacturing, big in service. We have a diverse economy in which immigrants also play a critical role. And so when we step back from the politics and the hysteria, look at it a bit more sobriety, we see that then the discussion changes to what's the importance of how we prepare immigrants to play their important role in the future of California. And I think that's easier for people to discuss. I think it's easier for people to hear. I'll give you one brief example. The top doctor, arguably in the country, is Dr. Q. John Hopkins. He teaches brain surgery. He was an undocumented. People call me and they ask me, well, why are you for this? Why do you want these people to break the law of the land? I said, because I want the best. And so, having lost my wife, I said, wouldn't you want your wife to have the best brain surgeon in America? They said, well, yes, of course. I said, well, do you realize that brain surgeon, the best brain surgeon, was undocumented? So do you care more about his undocumented status, or do you care more about kind of brain surgery is. And that could apply to architects and engineers and scientists, et cetera, et cetera. It's a rich academic community that's ready to emerge and permeate the intellectual leadership of this country if we permit it and if we support it, and that's the undocumented community.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Great.